It is Saturday, July 18th, 2026, and this is The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. I'm Elena Rossi, and I'm the reality check for this operation.
I'm Dan Miller.
This is Jules Sterling.
And I'm Buck Reynolds. We have a packed episode for you today.
We've got a lot to unpack, from a weird inversion in the freight markets to some very expensive mistakes in the autonomous space.
Look, the reality is that the rules of the game are shifting, right? We're seeing rates climb while volumes actually drop. It's a bit of a head-scratcher.
It is, and we'll get into that, along with some big moves in Texas and a regulatory win that's saving the industry billions.
Let's jump right in. Dan, you've been staring at the Cass index. What's the deal with this supply-side squeeze?
Here's the play. We're seeing a total freight market inversion. According to the June Cass Freight Index, shipment volumes actually dropped about 4.1% year over year.
Wait, volumes are down, but we're hearing rates are up?
Exactly. Total paradox. Freight expenditures are up 11.2% year over year. We're moving less stuff, but it's costing way more to move it.
The problem is, it's not a recovery if the demand isn't there. It's just a capacity crisis. We've got fewer trucks on the road, plain and simple.
Actually, Buck is right. This isn't a healthy growth cycle. It's a contraction of the supply side. I mean, if you're a shipper and you're seeing double-digit increases while the economy is sluggish, that's a risk.
Right, but look at the spot market. Rates are holding about 55% above last year's benchmarks, even in July, which is usually a lull.
So the rate floor has just shifted up?
Precisely. It's like a football game where the defense is so dominant that the offense can't even move the ball, but the ticket prices keep going up anyway.
You know, this reminds me of what I was worried about back in June. That capacity contraction would price out the smaller, less efficient carriers.
Here's the deal. The small guys are the ones feeling the squeeze first. If you can't handle the overhead, you're just gone.
It sort of feels like the market is forcing a consolidation, right?
If you're a shipper who played the loose market game in 2024, you're about to get punched in the mouth by these new rates.
Speaking of things going wrong, let's talk about the eyes of the industry. Zoox just had a very public failure.
I saw this. The silicon drivers finally met their match, and it was some smoke.
It's more than just some smoke, Buck. According to the reports, a Zoox robotaxi in Vegas failed to recognize thick smoke from a fire scene. It drove right in and then slammed on the brakes.
Which I imagine didn't make the first responders very happy?
Exactly. It obstructed the emergency scene. Now, Zoox has issued a voluntary software recall for all 105 of its vehicles.
105 cars? That's not a huge fleet, but it's a huge PR hit.
You see, the problem is functional insufficiency. The LiDAR and radar can't tell the difference between a solid wall and particulate matter like smoke or steam.
I mean, any driver worth their salt can smell a fire or see the haze and know to back off. A computer just sees a bunch of dots and panics.
But isn't the goal to eventually handle these edge cases?
Right, but the NHTSA isn't playing around. Administrator Jonathan Morrison issued a letter saying this is a fundamental failure. They've given AV developers until the end of July to fix it.
That's a tight window. Like 2 weeks to fix the brain tight.
I'm sure a quick software patch will solve the laws of physics.
This is why I'll never trust a rig that can't smell a failing wheel bearing. You can't code for every weird thing that happens on a highway.
It does make me wonder about the liability. If a robotaxi blocks an ambulance, who's paying the claim?
That's my nightmare. A claim where the driver is a line of code that didn't know what a cloud of smoke was. It's a legal vacuum.
Let's shift gears to the money side. We have a bit of a roller coaster with Lucid Group.
Oh, I love this one. the stock did a complete 180.
Right? It plummeted 57% in one day because of bankruptcy rumors, then rebounded 60% to close at $7.35.
Why the sudden panic?
Well, there was a report that they hired Alex Partners to explore restructuring. In the corporate world, restructuring is often code for we're sinking.
But the CEO, Silvio Napoli, went on LinkedIn and basically said, "Stop it. We aren't bankrupt. Period."
And then you have the Saudi PIF as the backstop. They just executed an $800 million draw. Their liquidity is around $4.7 billion now.
So they're not a normal company. They're basically a sovereign wealth project with wheels.
Exactly. It's not about the quarterly earnings. It's about the strategic play in the EV space.
It's a fascinating bit of diplomacy. The way they managed the narrative to stabilize the stock in 48 hours was almost impressive.
I'm not impressed. Volatility like that is a red flag for any risk manager.
Look, it's high-stakes chess. You bet on the backer, not the balance sheet.
Speaking of high-stakes investments, before we move on, a quick note from our sponsor. Strategic logistics requires world-class engineering. This show is powered by The Stack, developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media. Support the architect behind the code. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia for a free trial and access to our daily briefing PDF.
Okay, let's move to the big stuff. I mean, the industrial renaissance. Saronic has a wild project over in Texas.
Port Alpha, $3 billion in Brownsville.
Yeah, a software-defined shipyard for autonomous vessels. They're starting with 835 acres, but can go up to 4,400.
$3 billion is a lot of faith in autonomous ships.
Well, their Corsair drone boats just had some success in the Middle East. The government is pushing the Ships for America Act to close the gap with foreign adversaries.
I mean, from a risk perspective, building a massive hub for autonomous tech in a coastal area is bold.
It's about bringing the jobs back, Elena. Governor Abbott is talking 10,000 direct jobs and $750 million in annual wages.
This is a huge pivot toward defense manufacturing. It's not just about moving freight. It's about building the machines that move it.
It's sort of a parallel to what we're seeing in the truck market, right? Mexico's production is finally snapping out of that slump.
Here's the deal. If the heavy-duty market in Mexico and the U.S. both rebound at once, we're going to see a massive influx of new steel on the road.
Which is great, unless the regulatory environment doesn't keep up. Actually, on that note, we did get some common sense news from the EPA.
The NOx rollback. Finally, some good news for the fleets.
Right. Administrator Lee Zeldin announced they're eliminating mandatory diesel exhaust fluid, or DEF, D-rates for 2027 models.
Wait, no more D-rates? You mean the truck won't just cut its power because a sensor decided to have a bad day?
Exactly. Now they'll just use audible and visual warnings. The EPA thinks this will save the industry about $12 billion.
That sounds like a win for everyone.
Not everyone. The OOIDA is worried because the emissions warranties are dropping from 450,000 miles back down to 100,000.
There it is. The big fleets get the savings, but the small operator is left holding the bag when a complex system fails at 101,000 miles.
Look, a $6,000 reduction in the cost of a new truck is still a win. It makes the 2027 models actually viable.
I suppose. But we're still seeing a mess on the licensing side. The SBTC is fighting to strip New York and California of their CDL authority.
Why? That sounds like a legal nightmare.
Because of fraud. The DHS and DOT are investigating 75 CDL schools suspected of just selling licenses.
Oh, wonderful. So we have certified drivers who've never actually shifted a gear.
Precisely. It's a compliance minefield. If you're hiring from those schools, you're basically inviting a lawsuit.
Which brings us to the reality of the road. Not everyone is winning. We're seeing some aggressive recalibration in the market.
You mean the closures?
Yeah, Mountain Valley Express in California officially ended operations on July 17th. They're auctioning off their power units now.
It's a market correction. Too many trucks, not enough freight. The weak are being weeded out.
And it's not just the small guys. Fusion Transport just cut 79 workers in New Jersey.
You know, there's a report from FreightWaves and Cooner about a maintenance visibility gap.
Visibility gap? What does that mean?
It means 80% of fleet managers know AI could help them cut costs, but less than 20% have actually implemented it.
That's just a lack of execution. The tech is there, but the data's fragmented.
Exactly. They're trying to run a 2026 operation with 2015 data structures. It's like trying to use a map from the 80s to navigate a new highway system.
Well, I'd rather have a driver who knows his rig than a dashboard that tells me I'm losing money in real time.
Right, but the dashboard is what keeps the lights on when the spot rates are volatile.
Let's look at the bigger picture. Global trade. Air cargo is absolutely exploding right now.
I thought the ships were the main event.
They are, but the sky is where the growth is. IATA is projecting 71.6 million tons for 2026. Revenues are hitting $158 billion.
That's a huge jump. What's driving it?
E-commerce. Shein, Temu, AliExpress, they've shifted the model from B2B bulk to fragmented B2C. E-commerce is now nearly 30% of all air freight tonnage.
And then you have the Iran corridor conflict.
Right. Zanita revised their rates upward by 10% because the Middle East is a mess. High-value goods are being pushed out of the water and into the air.
So we're seeing a double whammy. Higher demand from shopping and higher demand from security risks.
Exactly. It's a gold mine for the air carriers, but a headache for the supply chain VPs who have to explain the cost increase to their boards.
I just wonder how long we can keep this pace up before the airports just choke.
That's the billion-dollar question.
Before we wrap, we need to talk about the road. Operation Safe Driver Week just ended today, and the results from Ontario are, well, they're grim.
Probably.
At the Lansdowne border crossing, they checked nearly 300 vehicles. 23 were out of service immediately.
23 out of 300? That's not too bad.
Look, that's just one crossing. In Ottawa, they had a 38% out-of-service rate. Nearly 40% of the trucks were death traps.
I'm sure the drivers were very surprised to find their brakes didn't work.
We're talking false logs, HOS violations, and major mechanical defects. It's a disgrace to the profession.
Is it just a lack of maintenance, or is it the cost of parts?
It's both. But there's no excuse for a brake failure. That's where my logistics Bible comes in. You don't skip the pre-trip. Period.
And now we have the CRA in Canada issuing aggressive payment orders that could freeze carrier cash flows.
So we've got safety blitzes on one side and the tax man on the other.
It's a squeeze from every direction. If you aren't running a tight ship, you're just waiting for the DOT to find you.
That does it for us today. We covered the supply side squeeze, the failures of robotaxi vision, and the massive bet on autonomous shipyards in Texas.
Later.
Bye.
See ya.
Keep your logs clean and your brakes tight, folks.